Welcome to AFO Wealth Management Forward, a podcast powered by Arrowroot Family Office that's at the intersection of accounting, wealth management, behavioral finance, technology, and entrepreneurship. We help accounting firms and financial advisors grow their practice by going beyond the numbers as we learn from industry leaders and subject matter experts to discover the secret to their success. A podcast that highlights everything from the transformative power of AI to embracing the human-first approach of behavioral finance to help you understand the psychological and emotional relationships to money and meaning. Here is your host, Rory Henry, director at Arrowroot Family Office and author of Holistic Guide to Wealth Management.
All right. Hello, everyone. I have another great guest joining me today. She is a certified financial therapist, keynote speaker, and the author of Conversations with Your Financial Therapist, Stories and Scripts to Grow Your Money Mindset. She's worked with organizations like Warner Music and Discovery Channel, where she brings practical, human-first approach to helping individuals, couples, and financial professionals have better conversations with money. So let me introduce my friend here, Erika Wasserman. Erika, welcome to the show.
Thanks. I'm excited to have a chat with you and get
Yes.
your audience to listen in even better.
Right? This has been a long time coming. I love the work that you're doing. We were part of the Financial Behavioral Keynote group, and I saw that you were putting out your book. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I got to read this. And I did read it, and it was fantastic. So before we kind of get into the book here, why don't you give our audience a bit of background on yourself, your journey to become a financial therapist, and maybe define what a financial therapist is for them?
Wow, that's a lot of questions.
Okay. I know.
Let's get into it. So I don't know about you, but my life's been a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Pretty much everybody is.
Yeah.
And the ride isn't always what we think it's going to be. And it comes with twists and turns and loops that throw you backwards, and ones that put your hands up with excitement and that you scream really loud if you're sitting next to me, right?
Yeah.
And so my journey is no different. I grew up in a nuclear family where talking about money was normal. I didn't know that was not the norm, right?
Yeah.
So I keep meeting people, throughout my life through the roller coaster ride, and that wasn't their background. So for me, it seemed a natural fit. I ended up going to University of Florida, getting a finance degree, and then started consulting with IBM. So
Yeah.
the chick up, the roller coaster ride is great. And I remember calling my dad. I'm 22 years old. I'm like, oh my God, I'm rich. I'm getting a BMW, right? The offer letter came in the mail. And he starts laughing. He's like, no, you're not. You're going to ride the Honda Accord till the wheels fall off.
Right.
And I'm lucky that I had somebody like him in my corner to guide me. And he's right. I kept the Honda Accord till the heat stopped working and, all of that. But if not, I would have gotten myself into debt at a very young age. And so it was having somebody that I can have open and honest conversations with that helped build me as I moved into an apartment with a boyfriend in New York City that we probably shouldn't have afforded. And I met somebody with a different money mindset. So now we had to work on merging money. You're nodding, right? It's not an easy thing.
Not easy.
And then we had the opportunity to move to Japan. So went overseas, did 2 years in Tokyo, and had a baby. So now we are changing currency, we're changing culture, we're expanding money for a new family member. We moved to China after that. Again, IBM. I've been moved. It also stands for.
I've been moved.
And then moved home and had 2 more kids. So I had 3 kids under the age of 3. 3 kids under the age of 4, and got a divorce. So that roller coaster ride went down really fast and really steep. And man, I remember laying on the floor and not knowing what life was going to look like or what I was going to do with my life. And I had babies crawling all over me. And it was a really tough time. But what I knew is I had the courage to ask questions that led to options and opportunities. And now I have 3 teenage daughters.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for the decisions that we were able to make in that time period and the guidance that I got, because I wasn't afraid of asking. That helped set us up for our future. And so that's how my relationship with money occurred. And then my dad passed away. 2017. And
Mm.
not only did I lose my accountability partner, my mom, 50 years of marriage.
Lost hers.
And she grew up in a generation where she's an educated woman. She was a teacher in New York City in her
Yeah.
young 20s who couldn't even open up her own bank account.
Mm.
Women 50 years ago, just 50 years ago, could open up their own bank account. But when she started, she couldn't even open up her own bank account. So she went from help from her father to her husband
Mm-hmm.
and then turned to me. So
Mm.
without knowing, she was my first client as
Client?
a financial therapist. In
Yeah.
2019, when I heard the term financial therapy, it was like lightning struck me.
Right.
Like, this is what I want to do in my life. And then I went to Kansas State and got certified in financial therapy.
Yeah, well, let's define what that is because you talk about laying on a floor, and most people, when they hear therapy, they think, laying on that couch and having deep conversations with a therapist. Can you talk about for our audience what a financial therapist is? Who do you work with? And what does that really look like?
Yes. So going to a cocktail party,
Yeah,
going
it's
out
great,
to
right?
meet new people and people look at me, I call it the puppy dog look. The head gets tilted and the
Mm,
the, the the eyes get like burrowed, like,
yeah,
what? Say that again. Yeah, so it's a really new field. It's been around since 2008. When the crash in 2008
yeah,
happened, a group of people got in a room that had a psychology background and that had a finance background
yeah,
and joined and created the Financial Therapy Association because our relationship with money has so much impact on our decision making, on our
mhm,
relationships, and our health.
yeah,
So if we, and I'll speak for myself, right? Like if we're not confident with our bank account, tossing and turning at night, I get in my chest, I feel like constrained. I'm waiting right now for the roofers to come repair my roof for
yeah,
$1,500, right? It doesn't feel good. It just doesn't feel good, but neither does a leaking roof.
yeah,
And so the mindset around it is that money is going towards a warm roof over my head, you
yeah,
know, to protect my family. It feels better to spend that money than, oh, this house, and,
yeah, right,
and especially during the holiday season, it gets expensive.
yeah. Yeah, I mean, look, I love the work that you're doing because when people hear financial therapists, they probably get scared and all these wishy-washy, but this is something that practitioners can implement into their practice. You have a step-by-step practical way of doing it. Let's dive into that because I love your money framework. Can you go over that, what the money acronym means, and then how folks can start having better conversations around money?
Yeah. So when I started my financial therapy practice, it was in 2020.
Hmm.
And I'm proud to say I'm number 15 that's certified in this field.
Yeah,
And there are roughly 100 out there. And so it is a growing business in a field because the emotional side of money
yeah,
is everywhere. Now, I'm a girl that if there's not available resources, information, I'm going to look for it. I'm going to ask the questions. And if I can't find it, I'm going to build it.
yeah,
And that's exactly what I did is I went ahead and built the money mindset method. And this was something that I was noticing I was using repeatedly with my clients. So a lot of my clients are high net worth individuals. These are, people assume if you have money, oh, it's not a money worry.
no, more money, more problems, right?
I've heard that song before.
Yeah, yeah,
And so that's really what it is. And so could be done, in the book I use Madison at 19, has a nail
yeah,
tire who's like, here, got new tires, open up your first credit card, all the way through talking to aging parents.
yeah,
So the money mindset method uses the word money.
yeah,
Took us a while to come up with it, but once it did, it just clicked. And I was like, how
yeah.
did I not think of that earlier?
Right, right.
M for money is make the conversation comfortable.
Yeah,
We tend to skip over it because we just want it over with,
yeah.
right? It's like, oh God, I have to talk to my brother about, whatever it is, right?
Right.
Mom
It's
needs,
like going to the dentist.
most people don't like doing it,
No.
right? And so we just want it over with. So oftentimes you ask a money question when somebody's running out the door.
Yeah.
And so that is set the tone like you would on a nice date with
Mhm.
somebody, right? The first
Right.
date, you want to
Yeah.
you want to you want to set the tone, you want to set the mood. The
Put a
same.
candle on, right? Put some Luther Vandross, maybe. I don't know. Like, we can create these money dates.
Yeah, so think about the last time you had a productive conversation with that person.
Yeah.
Could be yourself, could be your boss,
Right.
could be your financial advisor, could be a romantic partner. What time of day was it at? Earlier in the morning, you have less decision fatigue.
Yeah.
What was
Coming home from work, yeah, you're stressed, right? You just want to unwind. So it's probably not the best time to have those conversations.
right? You just put the kids to bed, maybe
Yeah.
like you're just, you're done, you're drained, and somebody's like, so, and when that voice comes, you're like,
Yeah.
I'm already tuned out.
Yeah.
So make it intentional of when to have that conversation. And that's the first one. M.
Mm.
Oh, one question at a time.
Mm.
We
Yeah.
we get into that meeting and all of a sudden it's like, oh, they're sitting here and we get excited.
Yeah.
So while we're here talking about buying a new car, right? The car's on its last leg. We need to get a new car. And then it's like, well, what about
A house, right? What about the kids' college education? But you're saying how you eat an elephant is one bite at a time.
one? Exactly. Exactly. And if you need help, write it on a sticky note.
Yeah.
Put it in front of you. So that way we're focusing on this right now.
On this. Yeah.
Let's schedule another time to focus on that. But right now we're focused on this. And then, like for co-parenting, I
Hmm.
always tell people put a picture of the kids in front of you if you need to,
Ah,
right?
yeah. The reminder.
This is what we're doing it for.
Hmm.
And then that leads to N, which is nurtured shared goals. So let's talk about that for a second. Let's
Yeah.
take the kid wants to do
The
travel.
kids. Yeah.
The kids wants to do travel baseball.
Yeah.
Okay. I live in South Florida. Travel baseball is really expensive,
Expensive. Yeah. Yeah.
but really good, right?
Right.
People move
Right.
here to be a part of these programs. But why is it important to us as a family? And
Yeah.
and if it's not, then that's a different conversation because you're not going to hit your financial goal.
Right.
So nurture the shared goal.
Mm.
Then comes my favorite one, E, is evaluate practical solutions.
Ah,
This is,
different options. Yeah.
it doesn't have to be my way, it doesn't have to be your way. And an idea that a tip here I'll give you is set your timer for 2 minutes. Each of you could take out your phone or a piece of paper and just do a brainstorm.
Yeah.
What resources are there? If we're going
Right.
to travel, who's going to stay in what hotel? If you're together or separated, right?
Yeah.
Can we join with another family? If it's my weekend or your weekend, brainstorm are the resources in the community that we can reach out to. Is there a way to make extra income by coaching or umping or whatever it is, right? Do the
Right.
brainstorm and then share the ideas. Third option, throw it in chat GPT. See what chat
Right.
has to say, right?
Yeah.
Maybe resources that you haven't thought of or ways to solve the problem.
Yeah.
Instead of talking at one another, talk with each
With
other.
each other.
Mm-hmm. Which leads me to why.
Hmm.
Say yes to compassion.
Oh, I love it.
Compassion for yourself and
Yeah.
compassion for the other person that's having the conversation.
Yeah.
So
That's
that's
why.
rinse and
Yeah.
repeat, any stage of life.
Right. I absolutely love it. I mean, that really I advocate for that return on relationship. And so, having compassion for yourself, it's that relationship with yourself, and then the relationship with your partner and your family, but saying yes to the relationship with you first, take care of yourself, put the oxygen mask on yourself, and then you can take care of it, your kids and your family. So I absolutely love it. Now, you mentioned, Erika, having conversations. I want you to touch on maybe having conversations with kids, and then maybe having conversations with elder parents, because the many folks in our audience are probably that living, where they're taking care of their children and also caring for their elder parents. So let's talk about that first. I give you two questions at once, but let's go one by one here and use Erika's method. Let's talk about how we can start having these conversations with our parents, because many folks out there are caring for them, and I know there's ways and steps we can start having them in a constructive way.
Yeah. Yeah. One by one. I
One by
like
one,
that.
yeah.
I
I'm
like
learning here,
that.
Erika.
Yes. Yes. And I don't call it the sandwich generation. It's the panini press.
The panini press, I like it.
All right. I'm in it right now. I got three
Yeah,
teenage daughters. We're talking college. We're talking all these things, cars. And then I got, parents to take care of as
yeah,
well, or my mom now. So how do you do it with parents? again, think about the last time you had a productive conversation with them.
Yeah.
Is it driving in the car? Are
No.
you sitting side by side? That's a good way of doing it, or out for a walk. I've
Yeah.
also found that storytelling works really well to
Ah. Yeah.
create a sense of urgency. Hey, mom, Uncle Jack passed away
Pass
recently.
away.
He left his finances in a
Right.
mess, and they were digging through his drawers, and
Yeah.
it was so much pressure on the family that was
Dealing
like,
with the emotional toll of the death, right? And now on top of that, they're working through, the financial issues.
right, they're trying to figure out things. They
Right.
don't even know forensic accountant, the
Right.
government, probate, whatever it is.
Yeah.
They're spending money and hours. Like, I don't want to be digging through your drawers.
All yours.
You
Yeah.
want me to dig through your drawers? Kind of
Right.
conversation. Can we set up a meeting to go over your finances?
Yeah.
Can you give me a list of where your banks are?
Right.
Just certain things to start the conversation. That tends to engage people because it taps
Mm.
into their emotion and maybe even their personal experience when somebody passed away.
Yeah, I think, I saw in the book that start out with that list could be a great way to ignite the conversation. I think that's probably better than having them log into their accounts and doing the digital, accounting of all their assets and liabilities. So I think you're right. Maybe using or putting yourself in their shoes and maybe, building a list first of folks who from attorneys to accountants to financial advisors is probably a great first step to start the process here.
Yeah, I call it a piece of life folder.
Yeah.
And what that does, it just the vet, right? The
All right.
plumber,
The vet.
the accountant, because at some point I'm gonna have to find your taxes. Like, let's start there. And
Yeah.
then the next time you're meeting with your financial advisor, can I come into that conversation?
Right.
And if they're like, no, I don't know dollars amounts, that's okay. But at least give me the phone number so that we have a relationship and I know what you want to do with the money.
Yeah.
So a lot of assumptions are made, and you know what the word assumption, assume,
Yeah. ASS.
makes an ass out of you and me.
Right.
And we don't want that. I don't want that. I want your legacy that you've worked so hard to build live on in the right way.
Yeah.
So another thing is if they choose not to include certain family members, or the reasonings are different, is I would ask
Hmm.
them to do a quick video, or write a letter, of what the reasoning was.
Hmm.
So you're not left behind trying to explain to a sibling, like, you're cut out of the will, and the resentment maybe builds with that sibling. So, or mom said I get that piece of jewelry,
Yeah.
just document it. Document everything. And today we have technology that can do that pretty easily.
Yeah, we do. To really capture those conversations, I agree that the AI meeting tools in the wealth space have been very valuable for firms out there. Well, let's talk about having that conversation with, kids, because I know there's age appropriate conversations we can have, but there's a way for us to get them involved in the process of talking about money, getting them started out on their financial journey early on that can really have an outsized impact. So let's talk about some tips or best practices in speaking with kids.
Yeah, get comfortable with it.
Yeah.
So, last night at my house, the kids were talking, and and I have teenagers that all have had jobs at this point. Therefore,
Hmm.
they don't have 401ks,
Yeah.
right? Or Roth IRAs, whatever. So I set them up, right? And so they were sharing with their cousins last night. I already got my retirement plan going.
Yeah.
And so because in our house it's like, great, here comes your first paycheck, like, what are we going to do with it? You get to keep some of it, and some of it we're going to do long-term planning, and some of it we're going to do investing. And then
Yeah.
every once in a while, come here, let's look at a stock that you want.
Yeah.
Where are you shopping at? Do you believe it's going to go further? Let's put, one share in there. It
Yeah.
doesn't have to be big things right at this point. It's small movements, and therefore the accounts are also created for them.
Yep.
So now you take that barrier where, especially as an advisor, you see where people just are afraid to fill out the paperwork.
Yeah.
So if the kids have the structure in place already, they're just naturally going to flow into, or more have, they'll be able to flow into saving and investing because it's already set up for them.
Right. It's something that's tangible that they're actively involved in, and it's their money. So they have a stake in the proverbial game of money.
Exactly, exactly. And talking again, like, we're talking about cars and insurances, and my daughters don't like my car. Now that they are driving and they can see what they're getting, it's a 2017 and it's
Yeah.
paid. And so my daughter yesterday, in fact, was like, "Oh, my economics class. Now I understand why you're
I
keeping
understand.
your car."
Yeah.
Like, I rather spend my money on travel, and because that aligns with my values,
Yeah.
experiences over
Yeah.
things.
Yeah.
And so
Um,
little conversations help build your kids' confidence in talking about money.
yeah. I like it. Now, you talk openly about your divorce, and I know you work with a lot of divorcees. So I want to, maybe have you touch on, well, I want to have you touch on really having these conversations with folks who are going through a very trying time because you went through it yourself. You work with folks, financial separation. So, I know you say there are predictable mistakes that show up again and again. So I'd love to have you share, what those mistakes are, and then, how we can help avoid them or help folks deal, with, divorce.
Yeah, well, we can have a whole podcast on that.
Maybe we'll.
Yeah. I mean, the reality is divorce and death, I think, are the same, except one brings casseroles and one doesn't.
uh,
So if you're going through a divorce, traditionally what I've seen is one person handles the finances in a relationship.
yeah.
Doesn't mean they're better at it. It just means that they defaulted or drew the short straw at doing it.
Hmm.
So when you go to the divorce table and they start asking for paperwork and documents, a lot of people don't even know their logins.
Yeah.
Forget about the amount of credit card debt or investments or where their retirements are, what they're entitled to. And so much chaos is going on, been there, done that, where you're not future thinking. You just want it
Hmm.
over with. The emotional toll is a lot. And
Hmm.
that's where it's really helpful to check the emotional piece when you're working with finances, hiring the right people to make sure that they can see the vision when you can't,
Hmm.
because your money is with you to the day you die, right?
Yeah.
And pass, because we talked about legacy and probate. And so having a clear understanding, getting comfortable with it. Some of my clients, I will just have them log in and look at their finances for 5 minutes a day
Yeah.
for a week. They've never seen these numbers before.
Yeah.
And just like starting a new habit, you just have to get
A
comfortable
small
with
step.
it.
Yeah.
Because the reality is the next step is building your financial relationship,
Yeah.
this next stage. And that's going to be negotiating for housing, negotiating for, you know, vacation time with the kids. How much do you want to
Yeah.
spend? Maybe conversations you haven't had to have with yourself. So think about your relationship with money like you would a new hobby that you're picking up. Think about it as pickleball. You weren't great at it at first, right?
Right. You picked it up. Yeah.
You picked it up, you practiced, you talked to
Practice.
people, you watched
You
YouTube
got in the kitchen,
videos.
it was hot in that kitchen, but you got into the kitchen.
Right. So with your finances, get in the kitchen.
In the kitchen.
And don't be scared to ask, because all of us have
Right.
made money mistakes. Have you made a money mistake?
Of course. Yeah.
And Buffett, I mean, you can ask anyone. They've made a money mistake. I have, and I will continue to.
Yeah.
Right? We're all human. And so if you've made a money mistake, don't let shame count you out of learning this skill.
Yeah. To gain money. Well, I also love, Erica, you do have some great first like question initiators. I think where one was like, what's your favorite bill to pay? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about that and some other ways that we could just start the conversation.
Yeah. So back to when I was starting financial therapy, this is probably around 2001,
Yeah.
COVID-ish time period. I was sitting at a bar, good ideas come to you in the shower and
Yeah.
the couple next to me was doing conversation cards.
Ah,
And she's like, it's our 10-year anniversary, and I just don't want to stare at him. So we bring a deck of cards on every vacation that we take together to
yeah.
learn something new. And that's when the light bulb moment went off.
Uh-huh.
People kept coming to me saying, I could never ask that question. I wouldn't even think to ask that question. And so I created Let's Talk Finances. I was going to see if I have it here. I do. conversation cards.
I love it.
So this is the couples edition. It could be used for a group of people,
Yeah.
families. And then I jokingly say, if you don't do the couples edition, you'll need the divorce edition.
Yeah.
And this is when you're redefining that relationship we were just talking about. But the couples edition is pick a card and just start asking. And yeah, one of my favorite questions is, what's your favorite bill to pay? It
Yeah.
stuffs people.
Well, can my Rams season ticket be my favorite bill to pay? Of course it
Heck
can,
yeah,
right?
heck yeah.
Yeah.
It can be because that aligns with your values,
Yeah.
right? So if somebody says to you, let's go to a Chiefs game, you'll be like,
Wow. Yeah.
I already got my money spent somewhere else.
Right.
And so that's what's important. So for me, when my kids were younger, my favorite bill to pay was my
Yeah.
babysitter.
Yeah.
I needed help in the house.
Yeah.
Today, my favorite bill to pay, as much as I was just complaining about my roof, is my home. 14 years later, my kids have never had to move.
Yeah. Stability.
Right. And so if that means one less trip, one less, you
Hmm.
know, not season tickets to the Rams for me, because that's not what I value, sorry,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But the warm roof over my head and the house that me and my kids does, it makes me feel better every month when I'm paying it.
Yeah.
And so we are taught to have a negative connotation
Of bills.
with bills,
Yeah.
but it's providing the life that you're living in.
It's the why. Yeah. I love it. Um, and I think that, obviously we talk about it in the world that we're in, that money is such a taboo topic. And I believe that we just need to start having these conversations, at the dinner table, right? With our partner, with our colleagues, and for the folks in our audience, with our clients. So, are there any other best practices that maybe our CP and financial advisor audience can implement in their practice to help start these money conversations with their clients?
Yeah. So with your clients, it's storytelling.
Yeah,
I know you don't get paid for the storytelling, but you'll get insights into how your client works.
yeah,
So let's talk about that for a second. My view is there's two types of people. There's the how person and a wow
the
person,
wow person.
right? So the how is, how are we going to get this done? The wow is like, we're going to retire in Hawaii.
Yeah,
Then the how person's like, how are we going to get there? How are the grandkids going to get there? Who's going to vacuum the sand? And
right. It's the implementer versus the visionary. Yeah,
exactly. So when you're talking to your clients and understanding what their favorite bill to pay is, did they get allowance as a kid? How did they use it? And then
yeah,
all of a sudden you're going to start to see their patterns come out. It's going to help you prepare better for your meeting with them, how you follow up better. Because if you understand how they like to follow up, and so for like the visionaries that we're talking about, the wows,
yeah.
one of the
Lead with that.
questions
Yeah.
that I encourage to ask is, when was the last time or how was it best that you created or completed a goal? How is it best for me to react to interact with you,
Hmm.
to follow up with you? Because most CPAs, advisors, we're how people, right?
Yeah.
We're
They
going to
want.
turn paperwork in the next day.
Yeah.
Just say, I want to learn more about you and what works best for you, and meeting them where they are.
They are. Yeah.
And so a lot of it is asking, conversation, and listening.
Hmm. And then letting them tell their story.
Yes.
I always say that we're really in the business of helping people uncover their stories. Their stories, from early on in their life and what got them to this point. What led them to create that business, start that business, grow that business, and then ultimately we can be a guide there and help them uncover what they ideally want in the future, and that's that vision of a better tomorrow.
So it's interesting. Cambridge did a study that our money mindset is created at age 7.
Yeah,
So when you're dealing with all these business owners that have exited businesses, running successful businesses, in their head, they're still 7.
yeah,
How their parents were making money, what they were eating at lunch table, right? Or
yeah,
not eating at lunch. It's always a favorite question for me to ask them is, second grade, did you bring lunch? Did you buy lunch? I had a group workshop recently, and one woman said she was embarrassed. She hated her lunches because it was all just cheap junk food.
Mm.
And somebody else said, I was always jealous. I had to buy lunch. My parents never made lunch for us.
Mm-hmm.
I was always jealous of the kids that got to trade food at the lunch table.
Mm.
Right?
That was a financial flashpoint.
Mm-hmm. Isn't that amazing? And
Yeah.
so it stays with us as adults without the conversations. So
Right.
that's a great referral for me, is when you're in these conversations and you want to move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
They're investing their conversations and they need deeper work to be done. That's a
Yeah.
great referral to a financial therapist,
Yeah.
because that's the work that we do. So at personally in my practice at your
Yeah.
financial therapist, we don't touch money at all. We touch only the mindset,
Mm.
the other senses,
Yeah.
and how you, yeah, all the other senses. So
Yeah.
with that is we dig into that childhood mindset, current mindset, future growth of what you want and how you want to build your legacy down. So family offices work great
Yeah.
with, um, and adult children conversations, blended families I work with, right? All of
Yeah.
this complicated stuff, that add layers of difficulty in your
Yeah.
planning and in your work, with a little bit of massaging, conversation, giving it breath, right? Instead of holding it
Yeah.
within. That's the work of the massage therapist.
I love it.
Yeah, massage
I
therapist.
love it.
Financial
Financial
therapist, not
therapist.
massage
Yeah,
therapist. I
right.
was just getting a visual.
You're just massaging mindsets is what you're
Yeah,
doing there,
yeah.
Erica. Well, this has been a wonderful and very illuminating, Erica. Is there anything that I didn't ask you that you think our audience should know about?
No, the one thing that I would encourage you to do is start the conversation.
Yeah.
Is start it in an open way,
Hmm.
instead of pointing fingers. Why didn't you do that?
Yeah.
Doesn't really set you up for a positive response back. So
Yeah.
setting the tone is really important. And I'll give you one last tip to leave on.
Okay.
Come up with a password.
Mm.
When that conversation's not going well, right? You can have a password in your head if you're working with a client, for yourself to be like, okay, we're gonna pineapple pizza, whatever you want to call it, or with
Yeah.
your partner or with your sibling or with your parent, where you need to take a break. Go take the 10
Yeah.
minutes, go walk around the block, go put music on, whatever you need to come back and be productive.
Yeah.
Because these can be really emotional and really straining because we haven't had a lot of practice doing it.
Exactly. Um, you're absolutely right. And I think what you've been advocating for and what the book's about is we need to start practicing and getting those reps in. And the reps get easier, just like working out. And you
Yeah.
get stronger and stronger with these conversations and improve your money mindset. And then I think for folks out there too, like we need to have those conversations for the next generation. I think it's on us within the Financial Therapy Association, the financial therapists out there, the CFPs, the CPAs, right? The financial professionals, start help folks, the clients out there have conversations as well to improve the lives of the families they work with.
Yeah. Well, that's why I put scripts in the back.
Yeah, I love it.
Literally, there's scripts of what the conversation could be like when your adult daughter moves back home and wants the air on a different
Right.
temperature more than you are willing to pay for your electric bill, right? How do you have that conversation?
How?
What would it look like?
Yeah,
And start sparking some ideas.
I love it. Yeah, you give us the wow and the how. So, Erica, what's the best way for someone to order the book if they want to learn more?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Amazon, Your Financial Therapist, you can pull up my store. That's where the books and the cards are. My website is yourfinancialtherapist.com. On social medias, Your Financial Therapist. So really try to streamline it. If you remember the brand, you can find me pretty much anywhere.
I love it. Thank you so much, Erica, for coming on the show. I'll put all that information in the show notes here, and I look forward to having you on again. This is fantastic.
Absolutely. Anytime. It was great. Take care.
Thank you.
Opinions expressed by Rory Henry on this website, podcast, interview are solely their opinions and do not reflect the opinions of Arrowroot Family Office LLC or their parent company or affiliates, and may have been previously disseminated on television, radio, internet, or another medium. You should not treat any opinion expressed by anyone as a specific inducement to make a particular investment or follow a particular strategy, but only as an expression of their opinions. Past performance is not indicative of future results.